Hi guys, I'm Darryl. I'm the founder of Break the Limits. We help advisors to break their limits so they can make more impact and income. For the last few years, we've been helping advisors to achieve their first MDRT, multiple MDRTs, or even COT as well. My firm belief is that when you win your inner game, that's where you have massive success in life. That's exactly the reason why I'm interviewing high-performing advisors to understand their inner game, the inner world, understand the challenges so that I can inspire you to get your unique breakthrough as well. With that being said, let's get started with today's episode. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Break the Limits podcast. Today I'm here with a special guest. His name is Jacob, a good friend of mine, right? So I just want to introduce him to you guys. He's a youngest and fastest growing director in AC, currently lead a team of 33 guys. He's also a COT achiever. Without further ado, Jacob, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi everyone, my name is Jacob. I think it's been 9 years. It's been 9 years since I stepped foot into the industry. It's been a very fulfilling journey. I've never expected myself to, love this industry or like my role. I guess it grew on me, right? So today I'm very honored to be invited by Darryl. We met in a very interesting way. I think later he will share a bit more, right? And I'm happy to be able to share some perspective with you guys through his podcast. We've Break the Limits.
Thank you so much. And without further ado, let's get started. I want to give you guys the context as well, why as to, I will invite Jacob to this podcast, right? I think there's a lot of interesting insights, a lot of learnings that you can take from his objectivity, his ability to ask really good questions, which you will see later on, his good answers, right? Really inspired me at the start. Before that, let's talk about how we met.
Yep.
So we met through a mutual friend, a client of ours. Her name is Melissa. And that's where Jacob arranged a meeting. The first question I remember, it was not very friendly kind of question. Who gave you the right to coach advisors? In that sense, that's how I felt. But maybe he phrased it another way, right? So he was curious. He was really curious. He said that, how come you had no advisory background and now you're coaching advisors? What led to that? Yep. And I remember that instead of feeling flustered, right, I answered with full conviction. And I was telling him very honestly, I never had the intention to step into this industry to coach advisors to begin with. It's just somehow one thing to the other, it happened. And now I just want to hone my craft and get better at it. And I told him that I don't know everything. I just do my best and help as much as I can.
Yeah.
And from there, I think his questions were really, really sharp. And that was what challenged me. I always see myself as very empathetic side of things. He's very logical. And I always want to learn that from him. Ever since then, we are friends. We bounce ideas about leadership and all of these things, and which resulted to this podcast. So, a couple of things that I think you can learn from Jacob, right? Number one, how he had a really good transformation himself from not achieving MDRT to like MDRT, and now is a COT achiever, leading, and the second thing, right, is leadership. Leading a team of 33 guys, not the easiest task. What are some struggles he gone through and how he overcome it? And of course, along the way, we'll talk about his childhood, whatever he experienced, that you can learn a thing or two.
Wow.
Without further ado, let's get started.
Right.
So, Jacob, share with them some context about how do you step into this industry to begin with?
Okay. I remember, I had this friend from OCS, right? His name is Zijie, right? He's from NTU, and I remember when he drew me into this associate challenge conducted by my agency Advisors Click. I told him vividly that, bro, this is gonna be like a recruitment kind of like scams and things like that. You sure you want to take part? Then he told me, if as long as we win, we got 10 grand. So it doesn't matter whether they're going to recruit us, why not? Let's just join. And without you, I'm not going to join anyway, right? I think he sees certain strength in me. So back then, I was waiting for my results back in uni. I was thinking, why not, right? Since they're going to pay me $600 for that 3 weeks internship and I can potentially win 10 grand, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I first exposed myself to my agency. Right. And I always credit my success because the agency allowed me to stand on so many shoulders of giants. Right. And that's how I got exposed to Advisors Click. And I think in that 3 weeks, a lot of things changed for me. Right. I've always looked at financial services industry as a career that as long as you can talk, don't need much substance, you want to make money, you go and join this industry. Right? But the people that I meet in Advisors Click, they are highly intellectual. It really attracted me. Like, most of them, they are either from SMU, double degree, hall presidents and things like that. Very fluent in the way they carry themselves, a bit atas vibe. So it got me to scratch my head. And then, being a young punk at 24 years old, everyone was driving a Continental car. Wow. So then that got me really curious, right? But then again, maybe just some back context as well. I didn't do too well, right? Back in my poly days and secondary school days was a bit of a, mischievous boy lah, right? And as a result, I didn't have much options when it comes to uni, right? But when I go to OCS, I realized that, wow, actually all my batchmates after army, they're going to either go to NUS, SMU, they have a plan, And I asked myself, wow, shit, this group of people are who I'm going to compete with in the job market.
Yep.
Right. And that's when I realized that my parents didn't prepare any money for me. Now my results I cannot redo, right? I can only explore private, but I need to pay. So I had to go and study while working to pay off my school fees. Right. And as a result, I felt a bit quote unquote stupid to join the financial services industry after paying 21 grand for 1.5 years to go through my uni.
Right.
Right. So it was a lot of struggle. Right, but because of the intellectual environment, right, I think I decided to give it a shot, and the rest is history lah. That's how I got into the industry.
Right.
Right.
And knowing that you were very, like what you said, right, had those kind of labels and stigma about this internship and this occupation, right? What switched for you then?
The people. The people and the design of the program, right? I recall, like I mentioned earlier, right? Firstly, is the intellectuals of the people that I meet, the advisors of Advisors Click, right? I'm sure not just Advisors Click, a lot of great agencies out there as well. But their background of what they study, right? Like for example, my boss, her name is Daisy. She was from SMU, previously was from RJ, right? And then 4 years in SMU, come and become a financial services consultant. So to me, I feel 1.5 years is a waste.
Yeah.
But what about all these 4 years, fellas?
True.
So to me, it's like, so that got me curious again. What's the logical reason behind why, as an SMU grad, you would want to consider financial services as a career?
And what's the answers?
So they are essentially more than just what I perceive, which is if you want to make money, your brain don't have much substance, you go and be a financial services. So I feel that, I don't know how I had that impression, right? It could be because, I don't know, monkey see, monkey do, people say, people hear, and we form certain perception without qualifying it.
True.
Right? But after having met these people, I feel there's substance. And as a result, I was drawn to them. Right? So that's one, right? Two is also because of the challenge and the design of the internship itself, right? It was called the associate program, right? I recall they tie up with MNCs, Singtel was part of the project. There was W Hotel where we get to pitch to the we get to throw, we are thrown a case study to solve a very real life issue for a group, right? In this case, W Hotel, there's this bar called Woo Bar, right? And then it's a bit quiet. So when we take part in the internship, they let us meet the GM of Woo Bar and they explain to us the issue, the outcome they want to achieve, and all these internship groups like us, we are supposed to brainstorm and pitch a solution, right? Whoever solution gets selected will be executed on the ground.
Wow.
Right, not just that, they also did this amazing car rally from Singapore all the way to KL with like stations in between. And then they house us in Westin Hotel in KL, which is quite a 5-star beautiful hotel, right? So this entire experience got me thinking like, oh, this group of people, they are mad, right? 300 over associates back then when I joined Advisors Click, that was in 2015. How many cars? You divide by four packs per car, that's the convoy that's moving out, And to plan the amazing race station all the way to KL, the safety aspect, the quality of the program, I think it blew me away. So it really got me to think like, wow, actually,
they are not like those,
yes, correct. They are not just nothing here and just, yes, correct.
Understand.
So that really opened up my
kind of impressed you.
Yes,
the
absolutely.
fact that they have a lot of substance that you didn't assume that they have previously.
Absolutely.
Then you're like, you know what? I want to try this career and see how it goes.
Yes, I want to become like one of them.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I see. And then the next question I want to ask you, right, is that because I know you practice and you're telling me that, when you started this career, MDRT was not very natural to you. You had a lot of limitations towards it.
Yeah.
Share with the audience, what were some struggles you're facing?
Of course, I think this is probably hard to tell, right? Just like I tell people in the past, I used to be a bit more like Abing kind. People say they cannot see that shadow in me, right? So same thing. When it comes to personal production and limiting belief, I recall very vividly in 2016, it was my first full year, right? I remember MDRT back then was about 88,000 FYC, right? It was about 120,000 in total, right? So that's the qualifying requirement. When I came in, I pledged a goal of 62K, right? And I remember around October period or end September, October period, my FYC was already 40 plus 50. So technically, I'm on track for 62,000, which is the goal that I pledged.
Yeah.
Right? Then my IO, my manager back then, Daisy, right? She asked me, why don't you run for MDRT since you're close? So she said this, why don't you run for MDRT since you're close? I mean, after all, you can only be a first-time qualifier in your first year once. That means you miss your first year.
Already.
You cannot already,
Yep.
right? So I tell her, or I rather I ask her, right, the logical part of me, how am I close? I took 10 months to do 40K, right? That means that's a 4K per month average.
Yes.
So now if MDRT is 80K, in the remaining 3 months, I need to do 40K.
How can
Mathematically, it doesnit make sense.
Yes.
Right? So I think I'm a very logical person to argue with.
Correct.
It can get quite draining because hyper logic always outweighs, right? I mean, that's at least to me, how I perceive it. And as a result, she didn't pursue. I mean, I happy can already, as long as I hit my goal. I ended that year with 68,000. Right? So I crossed my goal. I was an MDRT aspirant. But, I missed my first year qualification for MDRT, though I didn't pledge. Right? And then second year came, that was 2017. I recruited one of my very strong producers. His name is Nick. And then he asked me, what is MDRT? So I told him word for word, this one is very zai people do one. Then he just looked at me, he said, no, then are we doing it? Are we going it together? Are we doing it together? So I was like, that feeling is different. Now I'm not being told by someone that sits above me that we should do it. It's like someone that I brought in start asking me, hey, this thing is Thai people do one. So since it's Thai people do one, why not we do?
Correct.
Then I was like, okay, actually, there's no reason for me to reject him. Let's at least fight for it, right? So that's my first MDRT experience. I recall me, Nick, Daisy, right? Nick's my associate, Daisy was our manager. We sat down at Coastal Settlement at Changi doing our goal set, 3 packs only. So
3 packs goal set.
Exactly. Very cozy. So 3 hours only done already. Eat one fish and chip, then some materials, then after that done. So Daisy told us, okay, why not we do this? Let's write a time capsule letter to ourselves. That's very powerful. So we basically assume when we are writing that letter that today is the end of 2017. Right? So 2017 is my second full year, the year that I pledged my first MDRT because of Nick.
Correct.
You write this letter assuming you have already cleared.
Wow.
Right? So that date, that date at the end when you sign off is 31st December 2017, right? So be as descriptive as possible how you feel at that point in time. What were the struggle? How do you feel right now? Internalize that first year qualification. So we wrote.
Interesting.
Yeah, so then we seal it up in a letter. Then, on the envelope, we wrote our name and then we date it 1st of January, goal set 2017. Then we pass it to Daisy. She will safekeep for us.
Yeah.
Right? That year was the first time any one of us in our group, right, did MDRT. Daisy has been in the business for, I think, 8 to 10 years when I joined. She has not done any MDRT.
Beautiful.
Right? So I joined her. As a result of that, Nick joined me and Nick asked me that question, what is MDRT? I turned to him, I said, it's Thai people do one. And as a result, why not? So he jio me, I jio Daisy. So then that became the first year where
all three of us
qualified for MDRT and we have not missed MDRT ever since.
Respect, brother. Thank you for sharing this story.
Right.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah. So that was a bit.
And I want to ask that question, you see, because I heard this story once and now I hear it again and it's even more powerful. What was your thought process when Nick asked you, hey, why don't we do together? What was your thought process? How do you feel at the point of time?
My thought process, I recall it being a mixture of fear plus a mixture of excitement. Right? It's like a good brother wants to achieve the Thai people do this award. And now this person that you brought in, I don't know whether is it like he lacked the, because you have not run before.
Correct.
So to him, that is his first full year. So I worry like, is it you don't know that it's going to be tough? So, but I cannot dim that light for him.
Agree.
Right? Even though I wasn't a quote unquote manager yet, but I think leadership is not by rank.
True.
It's by action and movement, right?
Yep.
So I told myself, okay, he showed me, then I think the least that we could do is attempt. We do our best. Right? Even if we fail knowing we do our best. Well and done. Not like, hamji. Like,
I love it.
Hide behind, right?
Yeah, agree.
So as a result of that, I think it's a mixture of fear plus excitement. Yeah, it's the question of what if.
What if?
What if we really clear together?
So, you see, now I'm trying to dissect. In 2016, a very hyper-realistic side of you came out.
Yeah.
And suddenly in 2017, there's a what if, a bit more optimistic side came out.
Yeah.
What led to that switch actually?
I think a lot of it is, a lot of my journey or my personal growth is as a result of wanting to serve the people that I am able to influence, right? I encourage people to don the hats of leadership, because I think I tap into a lot of my strength that I never knew existed as a result of wanting to lead by example, right? If I remove all these people that I'm leading, I don't think I will be who I am today.
But that's damn powerful.
Really,
Yeah.
right? It's the same thing as army, right? When you're appointed a platoon IC,
correct,
you do that 24 click.
Agree.
Versus you are one of
man
the
show.
follower, you walk the
follower.
24 click. The energy that you can unlock is different. People ask me, how can you be so disciplined and consistent? I also don't know. But I do know that my consistency and the way I live my life affects everyone else that follow me. I want to pour to people, I must make sure that I'm filled. Right, so I think it gives me a lot of energy when it comes to leadership. And those first few associates that decided to join me when I was nothing, they were the catalyst of
the fire
that really explode. Yeah, without them, there's no me, essentially.
Wow, well said.
Right?
I like that. So if, in other words, allow me to summarize for the guys to understand.
Yeah.
When you were advisor yourself in the first year, there was not sense of like a power. There was a lot of limitations holding you back. A lot of like, what should I do? It's very difficult, no, not easy, no.
Yeah.
But suddenly now you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, shit, when I bring someone into the business, I must take good care of them. I want to lead by example. And that kind of gave you an additional push that you don't know where it came from. And next thing you know, a few more advisors came and joined you, and it just compounded from there.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow,
yeah.
beautiful.
There's another part that I want to share in my in 2017 during my first year MDRT run. I recall sometime end September, which is the end of Q3, I ended the same, if not a little bit more, as my 2016, which means MDRT again is 120,000, which means the FYC is probably about 80 plus, right? At end of September or beginning of October, my FYC was around 40 plus 50 again. So it's the exact same scenario as 2016.
Yes.
Right? So I recall we were having drinks, having calling night under our office. Back then, there was this bar called the 5 Bar, right? So me and the rest of some AC seniors and colleagues, we were having a drink. And then I met this guy. His name is Jin Jie, right? Lam Jin Jie. He was there about the same phase of life as me, same as career. And he was also running for his first MDRT. So we spoke during that calling night that AC conducted, and we're having some drinks. He was also going for MDRT for the first year. Same as me, exact same scenario. His FYC and my FYC is exactly the same again. So of course I'm worried, right? I'm sure he is, right? But I think I'm a realist, too logical. He is like a dreamer, right? Believe in possibility.
I love it.
So I think it's important for people that are too locked that side, and for people that are hyper logical to meet somewhere. I think that's a more perfect combination. So what happened was, Jin Xie, he actually asked me, hey bro, why not we just buy the LA ticket for 2018 and assume we are going to qualify? I think that will push us. To me, the realistic side, I cannot accept. I say, why would I spend money to buy the ticket next year when I haven't even qualified to force myself to qualify? How does that change the fact logically?
Yes.
Then he had, bear in mind, it's very powerful for me, and he impacted my first year run very much because he is in the same phase, but we share different point of view.
Yes.
Right. So to him is, he don't know how to answer me logically.
Correct.
He just say, I just think you will help. I'm going to do the same. Shall we do it or not? So at that point in time, I find it very hard. Then I asked him, what if we miss? So you see, a realist always asks this, right?
Correct.
What if I miss? Then all the consideration, if I'm dealing with these emotions myself, there is no him, I will not do it already.
True.
Because once I ask what if and I connect to the possible consequences of not hitting, it doesn't outweigh the buying part, I will not move.
Agree.
Right? So I asked him, what if we don't hit? He say, then to me it's very simple. He will just take the ticket, he go there, he take it as a holiday. I tell him, if I don't hit, I will not go there for holiday. I don't even freaking deserve it. He tell me, then in that case, the more you should buy. Because your consequence is so heavy. I still don't mind going. You will not go. Wouldn't that be a waste? Then I think this actually makes sense to me. So heck, the two of us bought our LA ticket when we were both at 40 plus thousand FYC at the end of Q3. And what we did was we printed out the itinerary, we pasted it on our driving wheel. Our steering wheel while we're driving. So every day wake up, drive to office, you see the itinerary. Next year, June period, you're going LA.
Wow, love it.
Whether you can go, cannot go.
Up to you.
No. And in that 3 months, I actually did the extra 40,000, which I never imagined logically. It makes sense. How did I do it? Honestly, I think firstly is first finding a reason. Something that is painful enough if you don't hit it. That's one, right? That gives you a strong enough fire at your ass.
Yes.
The how, you will look for it. You will look for it. Right? It's doubling the activity, tripling the activities, proposing bigger. You will look for it. Right? But
Why should you do it?
why should you do it?
That comes first.
Yes. Now I cannot fail because like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? And it was a very stressful period, my first full year lah.
Yeah.
That was my first MDRT run.
Which inspired you to put a quote on in your office. I saw that quote. Can
Which
you
one?
share with the audience
What?
about being realistic?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I
saw that poster.
Yeah, that is a quote that one of my mentor gave me. Right. I think what was said is a lot of things in life is very mediocre, right? I think personally, love and personal growth shouldn't be mediocre, right? And being overly realistic is generally the pathway to mediocrity. Right,
that's so profound.
we cannot be overly realistic. Sometimes we need to dream, right? But you dream without action is also funny, lah.
Of course, lah.
Right. So I always believe that the power of visualization is important because attraction, the law of attraction.
Yes.
Right. But the last 6 alphabets of attraction is what?
Action.
If you think about attraction but you never take action, then it's nothing.
Nothing lah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think this saying is very powerful.
That's
as well.
powerful. Allow us to summarize for the audience first.
Yeah.
Whatever that Jacob mentioned, right? It was really a huge inner shift, inner work. Like in 2016 him versus the 2017 him, he really had to eat the humble pie. But I think 2 things that I want to highlight in Jacob, right, that allowed him to eat the humble pie. Number 1, his humility is way off the chart. Like really a lot of humility. Number 2, right, his curiosity to find out the truth, right, allowed him to mentor and also challenge people's thought process. That's why, what's the gentleman's name? The Jin Jie, what? Jin Jie.
Jie, yeah.
That's why he was very open to Jin Jie's belief system, borrowed beliefs, and challenge himself, say, oh yeah, why not?
Yeah.
And he was an open book. He was like telling him, my thoughts are like that. If you can convince me, I believe you. Right? Instead of being closed up, fixed mindset. And that was what gave you that transition, the epiphany to this version today.
Yeah.
So if you are listening to this as an audience right now, right, challenge yourself like how Jacob challenged himself. Are my beliefs true?
Yeah.
What if there's a better belief? What if there's a better way of doing things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was how you found yourself from the far end corner of ultra realistic, shifting to slightly balanced, can dream while still taking actions.
Absolutely. Another thing that I want to add.
Go ahead.
Right. I also realized that sometimes when you want to shift your mindset, you definitely need a mentor that is ahead of you.
Yep.
Right. Someone that can show you results. However, having that itself is not as powerful as also having someone that is relatable and have not achieved that result. For instance, let's just quote Jin Jie. Right? If today Jin Jie is a multiple number of years MDRT, he tell me can one. So yes, he have done it, walk that talk, sure. But at that point in time, the relatable part is not connected.
Not there.
Because you've done so many years, obviously you can. Right? I think we have heard, a lot of agency leaders probably have heard this before,
Yes.
right? But this precisely because he's in the same
Situation,
boat, and he showed me the dreamer courage. And to me, this person is just like me.
Yeah.
Why am I so pessimistic and realistic? And when this person that is just like me, also worried, also scared, can find courage, can dream, can still fight till the end of the year. So having both sources of mentors that is ahead of you, show you the way, and someone that is also I don't know whether to call him a mentor or not, but positive influence that is relatable enough. I think these two together is very powerful.
Wow, nice that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So it is really the alternate reality of things whereby you're like, if I can be a dreamer like him, how would that look like?
Yeah.
That got you thinking of what ifs.
What if?
Right, beautiful.
Yeah.
And share with us, right, then how was your transition towards leadership then? What happened?
Okay, leadership has always been something that I aspire, right? I recall in 2016, sometime around February, Advisors Click, we had our first D&D, or rather my first D&D at W Hotel, right? It was amazing. The ballroom was beautiful, the setup was great. What really touched and warmed my heart was looking at newly promoted directors. Their family was invited. And then the team will do a skit or a performance for the promoted director. The promoting director will give a speech. The one that promotes the director will also give a speech. And this brotherhood, when they come down from the stage, they give each other the hug. It was very real, and it was very... I almost can imagine if I go up as a director back then, as a fresh agent, who should I thank? What's my thank you speech? I visualized the entire thing. Right? So I had that vision. That future is what I see, right? They say the future you see defines the person you will be.
Yep.
Right? So then that is that vision that I see. However, my journey of leadership is incidental. Right? So again, I mentioned Nick, right?
Yep.
So he was the first, I think the second associate that I recruited. I wanted to prospect him, right? Because I think he studied UOL for 6 months, then quit, then go to UB. So I'm thinking, wow, your parents must be quite okay to let you quit school, then go UB. UB is not cheap,
Yep.
Not like me, I need to pay for my own school fees by working. Right? So I shared with him some presentation materials, things that I've learned. And I recall when I met him, I also bought my first Mini Cooper. Right? And then he was just listening to me and all. He was saying, wow, actually you work 1 year, you can buy car like not bad. And what you just shared with me is quite interesting. Can I join? So to me it was like, wow, I a bit roll my eyes, like sales oriented. So actually, I mean, sure, you can speak to, Daisy and Colin. I think they will take care of you. Then I move on. But as a result of that, he became one of my strong left-hand men, right? And that was the incidental journey, right? But because of him, and also the question that he asked next year when it's his first full year in 2017, what is MDRT?
Yep.
I think it transcended from there.
Wow, beautiful.
Right, so that was my leadership journey, right? In 2018 July, which is my second 2.5 years from my first year, right? 2018 July, I promoted to a senior manager, right? 2019 January, I promoted to executive senior manager in 6 months. And then 2020 January, in 1 year, I promoted to associate director. And 2021 January, which is 1 year later, I promoted to a full-fledged director.
Oh, respect your journey, bro.
So that's how I started my leadership.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And knowing that, there was a journey, I remember there was a phase in your leadership journey, you're like thinking, should I do it or should I not? Because it's a by choice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What were your struggles, your insecurities that were in your head? Some self-doubts that was, you're battling, right? How do you overcome those?
Okay, so as a result of being fast, right?
Yeah.
So I always believe that the pace that you're going is not as important as the direction that you're headed. You go fast, nowhere, no point. You might still need to backtrack.
True.
Right? So the direction of where you're headed is more important than the pace, right? So you heard the promotion timeline, which means I am going up quite fast in terms of pace, right? In direction, I'm unsure. Because how would I know, right? Who am I to say I'm in the right direction, right? It's either you look for mentors or you fail enough times if you don't have mentors, right? And I don't believe in not having mentors in life because to me, it's like, I don't know, you've been to a supermarket, right?
Yes.
Let's say you want to find this kettle chips.
Yeah, okay.
These kettle chips, you go inside supermarket, you need to find hour by hour. I cannot take it. I feel very slow.
Inefficiency.
Yeah. So to me, mentors is like having customer service crew on the ground that will guide me there. Can I know where's the chips called? Then they just tell me this. Some even so friendly, they bring me to the aisle. Oh, this is your kettle chips. Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, do you want to buy 3 packets? Because 3 packets plus 2.
Yeah.
Huh? Really?
Why not?
Yeah. So these are mentors to me.
Oh, I love that analogy.
You get what I mean? These are mentors. Why should we go through life walking hour by hour when there is service crew for us to ask? But of course, my wife thinks differently. She feels this entire experience is good. Everything we find ourselves, okay, ma, we just slowly walk. Maybe we see something else there, which is also fair.
Okay, fair.
Right? So my point is mentors is important, right?
Yep.
Sorry, where was I again?
No, we were talking about the self-doubts that you're facing.
Correct. So as a result of being fast in 2020 as an associate director, I actually hit the promotion criteria to become a director in 1 year. Right? Typically it's a 3 years run.
Yep.
Right. So my group somehow is able to do the production in 1 year and the option becomes open. Right. But because I don't know whether I'm in the right direction, I interviewed 15 directors. Right. Some is within our agency, some outside. So I wanted to find out what is the difference in roles and responsibility between a director and a non-director. Let's say a tier 2.
Correct.
Right. A leader. What's the defining difference? Because you cannot say whether you are confident to do it or not confident to do it if you don't even know what's the difference and what's the role.
Correct.
So I interviewed 15 of them. Then some of them know me personally or I share with them where I am and how the team is at, things like that. And I asked them, do you think I should go up? Guess what is the majority's answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, unfortunately, or fortunately, I think their judgment was I shouldn't.
Oh.
Right, I will experience a lot of pressure, right, unnecessary pressure.
Yep.
And is it's like being born as a premature baby.
Okay.
Right? If we say 9 months term is full term.
Yep.
If you 5 months come out, you may not be healthy.
True.
Or you might struggle. You might need to go to incubation
Yes.
or, high dependency unit and things like that. So then I was reflecting a lot. And I asked myself, should I just lean on majority voices? Right? I did a couple of things that I felt was right. One was I went down and I speak to my left-right men. Right? Explain to them whether we should stand by ourselves, right? Should I promote to be a director group? Do you know what it means for you guys? Are we ready? If I'm going fast, that wave is fast. If everyone can surf the big wave, everybody progress fast.
Yeah.
But if some cannot, we will get drowned. Right? So that decision, I feel is it has to be one line, not just my decision. So they gave me the confidence that, we are ready, right? Then I went upwards. I speak to my boss, Daisy, right? That was also a defining moment for me because I think we were mutually concerned with each other's trade-off, right? In our industry, I think it's very transparent. The more leader you promote, the faster you promote, the less off it might benefit whoever that came before, right? So I share with her, or rather I was very curious, what impact or implication will that cause you?
On her, yeah.
Right? So she asked me, why is that a consideration? So to me is, I'm not saying for everyone, but I guess some people might experience resistance when it comes to growth.
Promoting upwards, yeah.
Yeah, so then she asked me, why is this even part of the equation? I say, why shouldn't it? Because if I promote, then me and my guys becomes a unit by ourselves.
Yeah.
You get affected in culture, you get affected financially. Obviously, I have to factor that into consideration. So then she told me that actually that shouldn't be a concern. The concern should be my own readiness and whether I feel I am ready to sail the boat by myself, right? And that gave me a lot of confidence. And at the end of it, I remember making that decision to promote. And I told myself this: it's important to seek consult, but it's even more important to learn how to make your own decision.
Wow.
Right? Seeking consult and making your own decision is two separate things.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you seek consult, majority say go A, you do A. You can still do B. Because at the end of the day, experiences and team dynamic is very symbolic. Right? So me and my direct team, the relationship, how we grow up, how we know each other, the efficiency model, how we operate, the leadership, the command and control.
Yep.
Of what I have may differ from you.
True.
And as a result, when I ask you as someone that walked before me,
No context. Yes.
But you will tell me 5 years maybe too quick already.
Correct.
It's tough to handle. But that is based off your symbolic experience,
Get it.
which is two versions of possible right.
Agree.
It doesn't mean that you are right means I'm wrong, or I'm right means you are wrong. Right? So I thought about it hard enough. Then I made the decision. In 2021, I became a director, and I think this is going to be a fourth year. All right, so far still
Good run.
I would say no regrets.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Beautiful.
Now, of course, you get tested a lot being young and fast.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask, right?
Yep.
In the immediate decision, the immediate decision to say that, yes, I want to do it. In the immediate year, after you say, yes, I want to do it, right? What happened? What were some challenges that you were really, confronted with? And how do you overcome those as a young and fast director?
Challenges is these invisible expectations that you think people have on you or you start to create for yourself, which is non-existent, right? For instance, I will be paranoid to say, oh, now that I'm a director, I ought to live up to invisible expectation, right? And this invisible expectation can come in the form of the way you carry yourself, what contribution you can give to the agency. People might start asking you for your opinion, right? In the board of director a meeting that we have, the AGM that we held, people might ask, Darryl, now that you're a director, what do you think? Right? So you want to be able to carry yourself with clarity, with confidence. You don't want to not know what exactly you mean or what you're saying. You don't want to lose sight of the big picture. I think all these are pressure points, right? And there will be a lot of new appointments that open up, and as a result, you are quote unquote the best selection for it. For instance, in 2021, promoting to a director, I recall in Advisors Click, we opened up this Advisors Click Youth Wing, right? And I was nominated as the Youth Wing president in 2021 in my first term as a director, while worrying for whether my structure internally can hold, whether our group production can sustain, and I'm appointed this position as well, right? So inevitably, you need to learn how to do more with less. Right? Are these challenges? I would say, on hindsight, I would call them opportunities. Right? There and then you can choose to why lah. Why me? Why
true.
not another person? I'm new, I still can do this. Or you can just say, come what may lah.
Yeah.
I do my best in any opportunity that come my way.
Yeah.
Right? And as a result of that, I think I grew.
Well said.
Yeah.
So at the start, you were thinking, oh, what are some challenges? Am I ready for those things? Suddenly, when the moment you say, yes, I'll be the director, I want to promote, then all these opportunities, which we were just now using the word challenges, you reframe it really well. And then you were accepting these opportunities as growth points lah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well said. And share with us, just now you mentioned a lot of internal challenges that you don't know whether this infrastructure is ready and all of these things, which other directors will definitely think of. For example, am I giving my leads to my guys? Are my guys sustainable? Are they efficient? Are they working?
Yeah.
What were some challenges as a young director that you have to face pertaining to your guys' productivity and management, all of these things?
Okay. I would think the most challenging thing is resources, right? Because I promoted to directorship in 5 years, 4 months, right? Contractually, the fastest is 5 years, right?
Yep.
And as a result, a big bulk of my team, they belong to the less than 2-year-old agent. A big bulk, which means the smaller percentage of those that are more than 2 years old, naturally they become the pillars of the team.
Yes.
Right? So then we go back to this question of willingness and ability. Some people might be willing, but not able.
Yep.
Some people might be able, but not willing. Right? You want to find people that are both willing and able. It's always a scarcity of resource. Right? So how do I inspire them that way? Right? How do I put them in position to continue to help with the willingness part or level their ability up? So that is the biggest challenge, right? And a lot of those people those directors that I have seek consult from, what they said is true. I will struggle.
Yeah.
I will need to do more.
Yeah.
But if that is my choice, I take 100% ownership of that. Right? And so far, 4 years in, I think we are still doing pretty well.
Yep.
Right? I'm still very proud of a lot of their personal growth, including mine.
Yep.
Yeah, that's possibly the biggest challenge, scarcity of resources.
Yeah. So just now when you mentioned the willingness, I remember we had a debate over it. Not really a debate, more a discussion, right? Privately, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you forge willingness? We're having this conversation.
Can we forge?
Yeah, can we forge willingness in a person to inspire more willingness in a person? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we can try.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is hard to force. Right? For example, why some grandchildren will just naturally want to go and visit their grandparents? Like for you, right? You grew up with a granddad. Granddad is not feeling too well now.
Yep.
But naturally you will want to do it. But why would another person not be so connected?
Yep.
Right? So is it that let's say the person is Jacob lah, let's say me.
Yeah.
You never feel so much for your grandparents like Darryl. You are a bad person. You are not willing.
Hard to say.
It's hard to say because
Yes.
again, the relationship is very symbolic. Those people that want to serve, willing to serve, you must have done something right or they must have received something right from you. Therefore, they want to. They might not be able to, but at least they want to.
Yes.
Right? It might also be the scenario that you have done everything right. They have received everything that they should, but they are not willing because they're designed to be taker.
Yeah.
They see it as, I joined you, these are my entitlement.
Right.
Right? So of course, you try and shape this person's mind, but if they grew up being a bit more, have issue with trust, more protective with whatever that they want to guard, then there's 20 over years of experience with him. You want to change overnight?
A bit hard.
Yeah, a bit tough. Maybe you need more time and more battles to break this person's connectivity with you.
Understand.
Right? Yeah. So I always feel that willingness comes before ability lah.
So when you say willingness, I want to elaborate. It's willingness to serve.
Willingness to serve.
Right?
Yes, correct.
Willingness
That's
to
right.
serve.
That's right.
So let's elaborate another point. Willingness to change. What are your thoughts on that? After so many guys, 33 guys, right? You definitely see some change, some never change, maybe. Or maybe some guys even left already.
Yeah.
Not just your guys, maybe external team in, this industry as well.
Yeah.
Based on your experience, yourself, and also the things that you observe, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about one's willingness to change?
My thoughts are not everybody wants to, but not everybody is willing to. Right? And those people that appears that they're willing to, they also may not be really willing to, right? For instance, let's talk about the program that you run, right?
Yeah,
Break
of
the
course.
Limits, right? I think it's brilliant because you help new consultants break belief
Yes.
and become and transform to a better version of themselves, right? So those people that come forth, they see your video, they click. can we say they are not willing?
Cannot.
Naturally, they are willing.
Okay,
already.
maybe yes. Yeah,
Right?
willing, yes.
So naturally they are willing already. We cannot say they are not willing.
Yeah.
It's not they will not press.
True,
So they
true.
press, they come and hear your content, they sign up for whatever seminar, they speak
Yep.
with you. They are willing to hear what's going on with me. Can you help me or not? So they are willing, right? So in this group of people that you have mentored, you realize that yes, the prerequisite of coming into my session is their willingness is already checked.
Yes.
Everybody have results?
No.
No, right?
Yeah.
And do you realize that the willingness level drop when things get hard?
Yes. Oh,
So how do we measure willingness? Is it the first time when they click into the video or
Yeah.
when they follow through?
yeah. I like that.
You get what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah.
So it's a willingness to change. Just now, what was the statement that you used again? Desire to change is there,
Yeah.
but maybe the willingness to endure enough pain to change, not there.
Their willingness is not foolproof because
not foolproof.
because nobody know exactly step by step, checkpoint by checkpoint, task by task, what I need to do in order to get there.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people need to see it to then believe it and then be willing.
Yeah.
But then I think we don't need to believe to take action. Right? We can just take action. Right? So those that get there, they have the ability to trust and believe in advance. Right? This is called having faith.
Yeah.
Having faith means what? Means you trust something in advance that will only make sense in the reverse.
There's
Correct.
no evidence to base on.
There's no evidence. You just have to believe.
Yes.
It's just like dieting. A lot of people want to have abs, right? I also want to have abs.
Yeah.
But why is it difficult? Because you need to eat the right food. You need
Yes.
to exercise. But eating the right food and exercise, actually, is it simple or not? By task, it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's just eat the right food and exercise. But then why not everyone walking around like Spartans? Because we eat the right food, we exercise 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, we take out our clothes, we look at the mirror, like nothing changed.
They go back to always.
Then if nothing changed, why should I keep doing it?
Yeah.
So they give up, right? So am I willing to have abs or not?
Of course lah.
You get what I mean? I think I desire, but maybe it depends on whether I can see the end in mind.
Agree.
Right? So to answer your question, I feel most people are willing
Yes.
to a certain extent to
Yep.
become better, to change. But not many is willing to the extent of following through to really internalize and transform.
And based on your experience, what do you notice about the advisors or even just, patterns about the advisors who follow through?
Patterns of the community. Some people, or rather, I feel Singaporeans population, a lot of them needs a lot of assurance community. I think that's the reason why, things like BFT, F45, it works,
True.
right? Because there's community, there's a herding mindset, right? So when I lack belief, I lean on yours, right? So same thing, if you ask myself back in 2017 when I pledged my first MDRT, if I have not met Jin Jie, he had not asked me or it influenced me that there's no community
Yep.
to do something I otherwise wouldn't have.
True.
That I might have missed my first year,
Yeah.
And everything else from that coastal settlement story, till date, might just be a story, I might still be a limiting belief fellow, You get what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah. So I think community is important to help those people and lean on, borrow people's success. Right? So you coach people, I'm sure you have community.
Yep.
Right? In your community, there will be people that follow step A, B, C, break belief, have result.
True.
There will be people that do A, stop. There will be people that do A, B, C, no result.
True.
But we lean on positive
People who done
outcome,
it already.
right? So if you're in the same community, there's encouragement, right? Not every lighthouse need to be lit up at once, but we cannot be in the sea without lighthouse. So at some point, there's this lighthouse, I move towards this lighthouse. At some point, I need to be someone's lighthouse.
Beautifully explained. I love all the analogies you give, bro. Supermarket and suddenly got a lighthouse. Oh, I love it. So if I can summarize for the audience listening to this, if you are currently isolated, alone, not supported, and you really feel that you need someone, ecosystem, a community so that you have beliefs to borrow from. I think that's a very powerful advice from Jacob that you can take immediate action and steps. One last question before we wrap things up, right? Share with us. What's the exciting challenge that you're currently, on track on? What's the project they're working on? So so they can share with us.
Sure. I think this is quite personal to me.
Yes.
Since 2016 till date, I have always been very business-centric, personal growth, personal development. I have always been a big advocate of it, right? Every year I make it a point to sign up for courses. This year, nothing new lah, right? I am going to sign up for a lot of leadership courses as well, right? But one shift in focus that I have this year is my goal, or rather my mission this year, is health and happiness.
Wow.
Right, there's nothing
2H.
2H, nothing related to work at all. Usually it's like, team production or manpower growth and things like that, right? This year I want to focus on health and happiness. And I think if I were to mark myself on a scorecard since beginning of January till now, I aced it. I feel happy. I feel that my Q1 review report cut in health and happiness index damn high, right? Why? Why is it that I make health and happiness a key component this year? As compared to the past 8 years, I've never wanted this kind of goal. It's not quantifiable.
Yeah.
Right? I usually talk about production or this year I want to do more FYC and all. My group production, because last year was a very, I think last year was the most challenging year that I've experienced through the 9 years. Right, I think I regress as a person, right, as a result of a downfall of someone that's very close to me, right, and I never knew that I can be kicked, because I always pride myself as someone that is quite hard, right, very hard to knock me off track. I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior. You know? So last year, I think personally, my very, very good friend experienced certain downfall. And as a result of his downfall, I took them very personally. Right. And I went off track. I went off track quite rabak.
Yeah, I know.
Right. I think, emotionally, at work, spiritually, my aura, everything is done. Right. For the context of your audience, I think one thing that I was very proud of is that in 2016, 18th of October, right, I actually quit smoking. I was a smoker for 8 years. Right, back in poly days, till I stepped into this industry, right. My passion for smoking is so strong that I think in OCS I got charged twice for smoking because the instructors don't let me smoke, and I cannot find a reason why. It's not logical, right? That's the level of love that I have, right? So I've quit smoking since 2016, 18th of October till last year, right? And because of the downfall or when I knocked off track, I felt this imposter syndrome. Like the last 8 years of who I thought I am as a result of creating good and inspiring people is not true, because this happened to my very close friend, right? And I took them very personally. I feel I'm a fake. I feel if I'm really that good, this shouldn't have happened under my watch. So I regress big time, right? Last year, in terms of business, I floated through the entire year. In terms of as a person, my health, I think my habits, everything took a toll, right? And therefore, as I reflect on last year, I remember I left Singapore for a countdown, right? Which has never happened before since 2018. When I promoted to a manager in 2018 July, I've never left the country during year end, because year end is always very important. A lot of submission, appeals, and things like that. But last year, I left, and I did a reboot and a reset for myself. I look at the whole year. I asked myself a lot of difficult questions. I processed them. And I think I accepted them, right? And as a result of coming to terms after 1 year, I make it a point to say, 7 years I've been on track, inspiring a lot of people, growing myself. Last year was a bad year. I got knocked off track. I have to make a choice. I either tell myself it was a bad year, fuck it lah, I'm just going to stay like that. Or I'm going to make a choice to get back on track. Right, and again, I lean on the power that I, as a leader. If I'm for myself, maybe I jialat already. But for people, I need to be the lighthouse.
True.
Right, so I make it a point this year. Let me focus on growing myself. Let me focus on getting back on track. So health and happiness become the key component this year.
Well said. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for the audience, right, it was something that Jacob shared with me privately as well, which we don't want to review here, and I know that the period, is tough on you. You were, facing a lot of battles internally and externally as well. Now that you commit one whole year, 2024, on these 2H, health and happiness, what beliefs, right, in you switch for you to prioritize these more than that? If there's one statement or one belief, what was that?
I feel if I'm not in a healthy and happy state, nothing else matters, and nothing else can move. Everything else will be damn fake. Just imagine following a leader that is lost at this point in time, not happy, not healthy.
Wow.
And then ask you to do all the healthy and happy things. How?
Not congruent.
Yeah, I feel I will be disgusted. So as a result, I will not do. Then now you are in a team with a leader that's not moving, that needs to be led. How are you? It's like I'm blindsided. So I cannot. So I need to fix myself. Right. And I need to fix myself and have, that aura that you are happy, you're healthy, you have that self-respect. You lost it last year, you earn it back this year.
Respect that.
Right? And I think this year, in the first quarter, is a lot about that work.
Thank you for sharing
If
that.
I'm not ready, I probably will reject this podcast.
Of course.
Right? Because
course.
I will not want to come here and put on a
And
show.
share, yes.
Yes. So generally, I feel I'm back on track. I feel I'm happy. I feel that I got that aura back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I can see it from my light, right, the way I see is, just now Jacob mentioned eating and dieting and then go gym, not the easiest thing to do. It is simple, but it's not easy. And then as compared to what he mentioned, if I don't do this, now I am not congruent, I'm not aligned. I think that part is harder than the running.
Absolutely.
As a result of that, he has more reasons why he should go through the suffering.
Yeah.
And that give him more willingness to change.
Yes.
Wow. So guys, if you're doing something that's tough, for example, like prospecting or like leadership, find a reason to go through the suffering, something that's even harder than the pain of doing all of these things.
Yeah.
And one last question, because you mentioned 33 guys in your current team as well.
Yeah.
And I always believe that you are inspiring leader who's constantly serving more people. Share with the audience, right? What kind of team members are you looking for specifically? Do you have intention of expanding the team in time to come?
Yes. I think expanding the team is always every agency leader's role,
Right.
But as much as we are always looking out for the right candidate to join us, we also want the candidate that share the same values, have the right mindset and skill set that we can confident to groom them to where they deserve.
Yep.
Right, helping them break through, become the better version of themselves. Right, being in this industry for 9 years now, I feel that this career is beautiful. It's the best career for the right kind of people. It is also the worst for the wrong type.
Right.
A lot of people come into this industry. Some people are willing to try, but they're not able to. Right.
Yeah.
Many of them are promised a point B, but not everyone gets there. So, my point is, if you aspire to attempt this industry, right, and there's this part of you that desire and wonder what if, right, or if you could, I think it's important to speak to enough people, gather evidence, gather information. If you might not be the most suitable, I think it's also important to meet someone transparent and have that communicated to you. But at least you know that door is shut for good.
Yep.
At least there's a conclusion. Right? A lot of us, we secretly sleep at night, not so happy with our corporate job, want to break through. Wonder if I were to go out there really easy or not. Can I make it or not? It could be real estate, it could be financial services, it could be I don't know, any self-employed, start your own business, do TikTok live. You lie down, you have all these ideas. Next day, you get carried away because life goes on and we are moving in such a fast pace, right? I think you need to halt yourself, process what is it that you truly desire in this life. Can the boat that you are on get you to this island, right? There's no guarantee that jumping to another boat will get you there. But staying here, the current one, confirm cannot. This decision itself is already powerful enough for you to halt whatever that's busy and hectic, explore the other boat, right? And really ask deep questions. Why do you think I can make it in this industry?
Yep.
Right. What I'm looking out for generally are a bit more of the underdogs, right? Because I came from that world. I want to help people that came from, slightly more underprivileged kind of family members, break belief, do well, earn well, but of course do well by doing it right and by doing good. Right. And at the same time, I think it's good to give back to community. You have more income to serve the people that you love and care about. Right.
Yep.
Success is not all financials. Right. To me, success purely is just being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever that you want. If you can achieve that, actually you're successful.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing all of these things so the audience can understand you better. And I just want to give Jacob a shout out here because he's a good friend of mine. Before he's not just a random guest in this podcast, right? My deep understanding about him as a person, right? Hear me out. He's someone who's extremely humble because of his background. Like frankly speaking, he told me that just now. I said, you came from a decent family. He said, no, bro, this is not well to do at all, bro. It's really, really, what's the word that you use? Below average. Below average. That's the truth. And he hustled all the way up to right now his current level. And that's why it explains his humility. He's also a very curious person. He's someone who always want to find what's the absolute truth. It doesn't have to be right. The person don't have to be right. What is the truth? What's the absolute truth? He's always about that. And the thing about him, right, that I see a lot about him, he is the kind of a loyal brother that you will look for or crave for. He will get your back, support you, and that's what I experienced myself as well. He thrown me too many opportunities in AC, give sharings. If you're looking for someone like that, you can vibe with that. I think he is the right person you can follow through. And more importantly, right, his ability to have that strategic big picture view of things. That's one thing that I like a lot about him. He tell you step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 until 10. And then you're like, oh, really? Like that? He show you the big picture map. Then you're like, okay, So you are someone that needs more clarity, more roadmap. He's the go-to guy. Sometimes I also bounce ideas with him also. Okay, so it's that kind of thing that I really appreciate a lot about him that you can learn from and you can vibe with. If you just hit up a conversation, he will tell you very objectively whether is it for you, not for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to do him a service and do you a service as well. With that being said, we come to the end of this podcast. And once again, thank you, Jacob, for this.
Thank you so much for the invite. See you guys soon.
See you guys. Beautiful.